Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Sales Scoop. This is a weekly live show for tech business founders who want to improve how they sell. My name's Alistair Cole. I'm your host for the day. I hold a bachelor's degree in artificial intelligence and have 2 decades experience building in sales and marketing. And today's guest on the Sales Scoop, I'm delighted to say, is Diana Muturia. Diana is the co-founder of Clyn, an exciting, very exciting business out of the US. Hi, Diana. Hello.
Hi, Alistair. It's great to be here.
It's fantastic to have you on the show. Thanks for joining. I'm very excited to get into your sales scoop, what you've learned over recent years in terms of closing business and driving sales. But before we get into that, I'd love to hear you and a little bit about you and your story with Clyn and how you got here. So please share with our audience. Tell us about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Diana Muturia. I am the co-founder of Clyn. It's a platform that helps vacation rentals and their cleaning crews stay on top of things. That's with guest turnovers, communication, payments, cleaning, and we've worked really hard on it. We're in version 3 right now, and really excited to see how it goes. A little bit about me. I'm originally from Kenya. I came here to the US when I was 18, and I came to study math and mechanical engineering. And in my last year, my math advisor said I don't look like an engineer, and I found myself cleaning houses. And that's how Clyn came about. It was a place of saying, you know what, I have nothing to lose. Let me sit down and learn how to code. And since then, I've had a team of engineers who've helped me with the platform, and now have a really awesome co-founder, Einstein, who is head of technology. And we're here just helping cleaning companies, mom and pop shops to national cleaning companies be able to increase revenue and keep their customers happy.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, it's an exciting world out there. I read that Brian Chesky talking about the merits the other day, that the CEO of Airbnb of sleep, but actually reading quite a lot recently about the impact of their kind of their transparent pricing, right? That includes cleaning on Airbnb, and how important that is for short-term rental and vacation owners to get a great deal on cleaning, right? What are your thoughts on that? What's happening in that space?
The biggest thing that guests look at is cleaning. And so, in terms of transparency, it's just the customer who's the guest of that host saying, if this is how much I'm paying for cleaning, this is the standard that I expect. And as long as the standard is high, the customer doesn't mind paying for cleaning. So I think it's spot on with the conversation. I think it's time that conversation is had. I'll start seeing a lot of change and shift to using more platforms that help with quoting cleaning and pricing cleaning out to hosts and guests.
Okay, yeah, it's gonna watch this space. Chesky seems to, he's very vocal and he's driving a fantastic platform there. It's interesting to see what the recent changes are. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Clyn platform, kind of most crucial functionality you've got at the moment, and if you're able to tell us a little bit about what's coming around the corner, what's happening with the platform?
Absolutely. So again, Clyn is a platform that helps with automation. It automates every step of the process between the vacation rental and the cleaning crew. So that's auto scheduling. Clyn can auto schedule up to 100 bookings for each property, no matter how many properties that you have. You can integrate Clyn with property management systems that you use, like Guesty, Hostfully, OwnerRez, and soon Journey and HomeAway. And yeah, that's how Clyn works. It also automates communication, it automates payments. You get to know in real time where your cleaners are at, which is really important, so you can keep track of time. Something that we're really excited about is our integration with Airbnb. We have been working hard on this, and we want to make sure that we are serving our customers where they're at. We started with Guesty and OwnerRez, which are partners with Airbnb, but we feel that a lot of our customers are looking to just integrate directly with Clyn with their Airbnb because they don't want to do all the other stuff of like going into other platforms. They're just having one or two properties instead of 50, and they still like to use Clyn.
Yeah, and in our recent discussions, one of the things that really jumped out at me was looking after the cleaners, right? You said recently or last year quoted that if we look after them, then they look after the households, they look after our businesses and help us grow, right? And I've always been inspired by that ability of, or the passion you've got for looking after them. Are you able to expand on how the platform works best, really well for cleaners?
Yes, absolutely. So that's something that I've felt very passionate about. I think cleaners are like, I see them as like Batman, they go and swiftly clean up, and they're out of there. You don't see them. And sometimes we don't appreciate them because when we go to the office and that coffee stain is not there the next day, we don't really think about it, but they make our spaces so clean and so fresh for us to just function.
Yeah.
And so it's important for us to take care of our cleaners. Now, how do we do that? Is by listening to them. What are their pain points? What do they like to have? Making sure that we're solving the main thing, and first the main thing, and how we can put more money in their pocket, which is what they're really, that's what they care about. They care about keeping their customers. They care about building those relationships. So we solve those problems specifically for them.
Yes, and I guess automation and AI can help ensure that they've got less distance to go. They can do more jobs in a day, closer to home. That all sounds fantastic. Where can people go to find out more about Clyn?
You can go to clyn.com, so that's CLYN.com, and you'll get a lot of information there for vacation rentals, for homes, and the services that we provide.
Clyn.com, clean.com. Okay, fantastic. Well, look, you talking about listening to the cleaners there is a nice segue into your sales scoop. Enlighten us. What's the kind of the key area that you wanna share today that you've learned in sales?
So, a big thing that I've learned in sales, first of all, I was in sales my entire career. When I started off sales, I started off with selling cars. I sold used cars, and then I started selling new cars, and then tech sales, and then I ended up being a national business development partner manager for Cisco Systems and Insight Direct. So, I've been in sales my entire life, but when it came to selling for Clyn, I realized that I was just depending on the systems that they already set. And something that I didn't set already was customer discovery. So you have to be close to your customers. That's going to be your Swiss knife. I call customer discovery is your Swiss knife. Because if you know your customers really well, you know exactly what to sell.
Yeah, look, the ultimate B2C, selling used cars, right? And then new cars, and gradually you're selling B2B, and Clyn is a B2B to C platform. So you feels like you've tried your hand at everything. And customers, that's an important one, right? The people with the money. It's really tough, convincing people to part with their cash for products and services, and the customer's got to come right at the center. How would you break that down within that Swiss knife, as you called it, right, of
Oh,
customer
yeah.
discovery? Break it down for us. What does best in class customer discovery look like for salespeople on a call?
Customer discovery helps you not build in a bubble. If you are, the reason why we're afraid to sell in the first place, especially, you've worked really hard on something and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, if I put it out there and they hate it, it's because you are building in a bubble. You have to have your customers around you when you're building your product, when you're building your services. You have to have customers there. So definitely not build in a bubble. Keep them in the loop. Ask them, hey, this is a thesis that I have. I want to see if it's the same problem that you have and how painful that problem is, and how much you would pay for it if we solve this problem.
Yeah, sitting with them, right? Whether it's, buyers and understanding their need or customers and how they're behaving, getting right in there. And I think that extends beyond just, sales to so many different areas of actually being in there with the other humans, right?
Yeah.
Um, but we work the Uplift Partnership. We work with a lot of startups. Often they're very early on, and they haven't done that piece. And they are building in a bubble, and obviously that is quite dangerous. But we've all been bitten by it, right? I feel like
Oh yeah.
is that one of those things that you have to go through the process? You have to do it in a bubble and be
You
disappointed
have to
before
go
you
through
learn.
it. Oh yeah, you have to go through it. Every founder has been in this situation where you feel like I am going to absolutely blow this out the water, and then you put it out there, no one wants it. It happens all the
Yeah,
time. So
yeah.
you have to have your customers around, and it can be as simple as having a Zoom call. Just schedule Zoom calls and say, hey, you're in this space. I'm solving this problem in your space. I'd like to hear your thoughts, and just ask them what kind of challenges they have,
Yeah.
and just listen to them. You literally are going, by the time you get to call number 4 or 5, you already see a theme. And so you may have a very real problem that you're solving, but you may be solving it in the wrong way. And so having those potential customers in the front line as you're building is really important for that sale.
Mm. Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned 4 or 5 there. And which reminds me of Jakob Nielsen, the highly esteemed UX researcher, and his study that we used, decades ago was around the fact that 5 people being interviewed was enough to get 80% of the problems. Right, it doesn't need to be millions of calls. Right, like you said, the trends
Yeah.
come out, but you've got to make the time to sit with them. What else? What else? What else could we do as well as not building in a bubble? What else would you recommend?
I would say also with the iterations, definitely have them in those iterations. Send the ugly baby and say, hey, this is the ugly baby. Let them say, hey, maybe just put, a little bit of this and a little bit of that and remove this and remove that. They will let you know, because if they're going to pay for it, they're going to let you know if it's going to work for them or not.
Yeah,
So definitely have them also through the iteration, not just at the front of before you build the product, but also during the building of the
yeah,
product. Yeah.
yeah. One of the phrases that we use is "kill your children," right? In terms of making those, coming up with the ideas, doing the little spikes and features and stuff, and then if it isn't working, you've got to get rid of it, right? You've got to take
Yeah.
the ugly baby you don't know, and then you've got to be confident enough to just be ready there for kind of failure feedback. Um,
Yeah.
but talking about that, how important is confidence? Because obviously, sitting next to people and taking products or ideas, that can be, it can feel like a personal attack.
Yeah.
On your confidence, on your idea, on your ideas, right? We've all been there. Nobody likes to be shot down. What? How important is confidence in that process for
So
you?
this is my philosophy, is that confidence is built because you just put yourself out there and you talked to the customer, and the customer shot you a few times, and they did that before you put it out. For example, if you have like a service or a product, before it's out in the world, you've worked with your closest potential customers. So any kind of negative feedback has already been provided. And so you've already got out of that like scared, situation. And by the time you've iterated with the customer over time, and now you're out there selling it, you're so confident because you know exactly their words that they use, the pain
Mm.
points, how it solves their problem, and by the time you're out there, you talk about it, you just say one sentence about what you're solving, and it's exactly how that customer
Yeah.
sees that problem and how they want it to be solved. So their face light up and it gives you more confidence. So you just have to put yourself out there, say, hey, this is the product, this is the solution, um, and then get that feedback at the beginning. So once you're out there selling, it doesn't feel like a big deal.
Yeah, my mind went back there to that kind of, you talked about the words, and it's almost the rehearsing of the patter, right? The sales patter, the line, and as you talk to more people, you realize that word X resonates more than word Y, and so it's kind of live value proposition, you
Yeah,
know, evolution, right, with them early on,
yeah,
and until things get solidified, and you know,
yeah.
you make it, confidence is about getting out there, right? But that's easier said than done. You're more towards the super confident end than a lot of founders. Have you, when when have you lost your confidence? Have you, has there been times where you haven't, you haven't felt it, or it's felt difficult to get upbeat about things?
Oh yeah, absolutely. All the time. All the time. I wake up and I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I here? It happens all the time. When you're doing something new, you always feel a little weird and off. And that's just the journey of doing something new. When you're talking to customers, you're going to fumble on your words at the beginning. You won't know what the system and how to actually go about it until, again, in call 4 or 5. That's when you start
Mm,
having like a good structure around, like, oh my gosh, the last 4 calls, they've all said this. So let's
mm,
dive even deeper to the conversation in this specific parts.
yeah.
And so don't be afraid to put yourself out there because you're not confident. The confidence comes with the work. I'd like to provide like one story that I
Go
think is
on.
actually
Great.
very useful. So my first year of college, when I came to the US, my professors and myself, we were not like hearing each other. They had the very heavy Southern accent. I have my Kenyan accent. I was not hearing them. They were not hearing me. And I was like, I cannot fail my classes because of this. So after 4 hours of lecturing, so exhausted, I would lie down in the bed and repeat the words that I heard. I would just repeat it from the demeanor and how they use their words, how they express themselves. I would literally mirror that. And so I got so good at it until when I'm talking to someone, they're like, oh my God, I can relate so much with Diana. It's because I'm just mirroring what they're saying. It's the same thing with, and that built my confidence. So it's the same thing with sales. Once a customer is talking to you, you hear their voice in their frustration, the words that they say, the words that they use,
Mm,
the solutions that they would like to have. You use those same words. Um, that's how you relate to them. That's how you build your
yeah.
confidence. That's how you build the relationship between you two.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
it's words that do it. My mother was a special needs and English teacher for decades, and I remember her explaining that kind of, human groups really are defined by their language. Whether you're in the gang or out of the gang is really about whether you know the words, right? It's the
yeah,
lingo, and it's the same with customers. If you're using the right terms, then you're in their tribe, right?
yeah,
You
absolutely.
you talked there about calls, and I guess, phone calls and video calls are great ways to spend with customers, spend time with them, and understand. What would be your tips on organizing those sessions, or what do you do before those sessions? How should they run for people? Anybody watching or listening, what would be your tips about how to run a great customer discovery call?
Now, if you're starting by yourself, I would just start with like going and talking to people and saying, can we schedule a time? Just have like a Calendly link and send that Calendly link. Have them schedule the time, what the time is good for them. But have some questions that, write your assumptions down, the assumptions that you have. That's the best way to go about it.
Okay.
Just start asking those questions. For example, let's say it's the industry of fashion industry. Write all your assumptions down. Jeans don't fit well. Blue jeans is popular and black jeans should be more popular. Whatever those assumptions are, and then
Okay.
ask them those questions.
Okay.
Um, Eventually, over time, you'll know the assumptions that are actually matter to be validated, and some that should not even be in the list in the first place. But
Yeah.
that's how I go about it as just starting. However, We've been working together, Alistair, and we've set out a CRM and a campaign, and that has been really, really helpful. I would definitely check out the Uplift partnership on this. In just organizing the calls is like reaching out, doing the outreach over LinkedIn, and then having the outreach be able to have conversations first, and then be able to schedule, which has been really helpful for us to scale our our go to market. But that's how I would start, is just start simple, schedule those calls, have it all in 1 week so that the next week you're solving the next problem in your company. But that's how I would go about it.
Okay. And that's making me think about kind of features in product in the Clyn platform. What would you say are, are all the best features ideas that have come from you and Einstein and the team, or all the great features come from customers? Are they all from customers? I don't know. What's the kind of, how has it ended up?
It was all customers.
Okay.
When we're talking to them, my problem was I was a cleaner and I wanted more customers. And then when we got out in the world, we found that customers have their own problems that are even more pressing. And so once we talked to customers, we realized that they want automation. Automation is a big thing. They were depending heavily on text, calls, and emails, which is very highly inefficient if you want to scale your business, whether you're a cleaning company or a vacation rental property agency. And so we needed to figure out how to automate all the manual and cumbersome problems that they have. So auto scheduling, looking at before and after photos, and being able to analyze those photos really quickly and provide feedback to the cleaner so that they can fix it right away instead of having a recall, which becomes an issue with guest experiences.
Yeah.
Being able to train the cleaner, being provided that report back to you so that you can know if the cleaning was done properly. Providing the best route for the cleaners, whether they're under you or you're using a provider. So those things are like all, even like knowing where the cleaners are. Did they arrive on time? A lot of our customers say, I'm constantly blowing up my cleaners. I don't know where they're at. But the cleaners are there. They just probably put their phone aside and they're cleaning. So being able to know where they are at what time, if the job was done properly, those are the biggest issues from customers, and we are able to solve them.
Okay. Fantastic. And um, spending time with them is great, customers, right?
Yeah.
But that's quite time intense. It's a big chunks of diary time. Is it something you do continuously, or do you do it in bursts, or do you do it once a year? Um,
We do it. We have sprints where we're like, okay, we want to solve this problem, and so we're going to dedicate, a certain long dated period of time to do the customer discovery, so that our sales process is really aligned with the people that we want to sell to. That's how we do it. However, over time, as we're building the product, we're talking to them. We have spurts and cadences where we talk to them over time. But it does start with a big spurt, and then over time, we just have like those cadences with them. We keep them up to date through newsletters.
yeah.
We keep them up to date with some messaging here and there, so that they can try us out, give us some feedback. And then eventually, when we're out there saying, okay, here's a product, we're not just selling, we're providing a solution.
Yeah. And it is hard, but we can get it right. It does work sometimes. How do you know? How do you know when it's working? How do you know from the customers that you've got it right?
Their face is going to light up. That's how you know. All the time. When I go to events and I talk about Clyn, I would just see someone go like, and immediately just they want to just talk to me like, oh my god, where have you been? This is so genius. So it will show in their face that the
Yeah.
solution is actually what they were looking for. Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, that's fantastic. I think that overarching theme of putting the customer, the buyer, right at the heart. We know how important that is in 2025, right? Whether it's you've got B2C business or a B2B or B2B2C like yours, um, you know, Gartner, I think it was, who the Gartner stat that we push out there is that 87% of buyers expect to be delighted before and after the purchase. Almost like, almost 9 out of 10 people, they're expecting, the stakes are so high, they're expecting you to be delighted. And so you can really only achieve that if you're listening to them like super carefully, right? So look, that's really fascinating. Thank you. And you shared 3 or 4, 5 different areas within the Swiss knife of customer discovery for sales. Before we wrap up, can you talk a little bit about what's coming down the road for the rest of this year for you? You're in Austin, Texas, but Clyn is serving a much broader part of the US. Is anything coming up this year? Events that you're at, or new features coming in the product, or new developments that you can talk about? Where are you going to be for the rest of 2025, Diana?
Yes, our biggest goal is to have version 4 out. We're currently in version 3, which helps with the automation process and provides a cleaning services in 18 cities. But version 4 will be available for the entire the entire nation of the US and also internationally, because you'll be able to add your cleaners, you'll be able to automate with AI. We have been laggers a little bit with AI because we just didn't want to just throw it out there and it not be useful to our customers. So again, we went back to customer discovery to figure out what are the solutions that we can provide with AI. So it's really exciting, and also being integrated with Airbnb too is going to be a major thing this year.
Yeah, I mean that the Airbnb integration is very exciting, and the other AI bits and pieces you've got, which is fantastic to hear all about. And as you mentioned previously, you can head over to clyn.com if you want to know more, or you want to book a cleaning. The process is unbelievably quick through the search function to getting something booked. Something that my brother-in-law has used in the southeast. Look, thanks very much for your time, Diana. Really loved that focus on customers. So thanks for your sales scoop.
Thank you, Alistair. I appreciate it.
No, absolutely, my pleasure. You talked about a little bit about, or we talked a little bit about confidence, and one of the previous shows was on building confidence as a founder seller, and you can get see all of the previous show recordings at thesalescoop.com. And our next show a week today is with Kieran Gill and me. It'll be the hottest AI tools for sales. That's Tuesday, the 25th of February, back at our regular time of noon GMT. So all that's left for me to do is thank you, Diana. Thanks for your time.
Absolutely. I enjoyed this. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. It's great to see the focus on customers. Great to hear about the Clyn platform. And I hope everybody listening and watching has enjoyed your sales scoop. Okay, great. Well, I'm just going to say bye, and we'll take the show to a close. So thanks for your time. Goodbye, everybody.